And what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Retro Review. I'm the Bearded Geek. Joining me, as always, is Mikey the Freak.
What's up, folks?
Bebo cannot join us. He has other duties he has to fulfill. So today we are going to be doing the Oscar-nominated, the world famous Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
World famous.
World famous, yes.
It
It is Oscar
is
winning.
world famous.
It is
Yes, it
Oscar
is.
winning.
Yes.
Uh, Matter of fact, they won 3 Oscars. I'm gonna go over them right now. They won an Oscar for best film editing. They won an Oscar for best effects and sound effect editing, and they won an Oscar for best effects and visual effects.
Well, that makes a lot of sense.
It really does. So this movie, it's a tune-hating detective is a cartoon rabbit's only hope to prove his innocence when he is accused of murder.
Murder.
I don't know why I always say murder like that.
Murder.
Murder. But yeah, this movie it follows Eddie Valiant, who's the detective. Roger Rabbit, of course, is the one framed for murder. It is without getting into a whole lot of details and stuff like that, it is a very fun movie. I enjoyed the interacting between the cartoon and the people itself. It seemed very real at times. I mean, there were some times where you could tell the special effects was a little off, but uh, just for this time period, not being CGI, was all hand drawn cartoons. This movie, you felt like this world was real. Like you could go through and you could feel like this world was real. I really enjoyed this movie. It was a fun adventure movie, in my opinion. It kind of uh, it was a throwback type movie too as well. It made me it put a smile on my face. That's kind of my general feelings about this movie. Mikey, how about you?
Yeah, it's always been fun. It's one of those nostalgic movies from the '80s that kind of brings back your childhood with the cartoons and wanting to be in that world as a kid. Being able to
Yeah.
walk up to Bugs Bunny and take a bite of his damn carrot or take it from him or and get blown up by Wile E. Coyote or something. But it's always that fun type movie where cartoons and humans interacted. And yeah, I agree. There are some parts where it's kind of, I'd say off. Off is probably just a consensus word for it, but it really meshed together well, and made it more of a a childhood wish, like I
Yes.
said, to kind of be into that mood or into that world, you know. So the characters are always fun with Christopher Lloyd playing Doom, Judge Doom,
Judge Doom, yes.
and kind of having that cartoonish character per se towards the end of the movie. So it's more of playing the villain is was tough for Christopher Lloyd, I think, because he's never really been a villain up to that point. He's always been the fun type character, that the comedic type character. So to see him kind of have that serious role, it was some people almost said terrifying from coming from coming from a Back to the Future to Who Framed Roger Rabbit. But he was fun in the movie. I
Mhm.
love the Weasels. The Weasels are always cool gangsters, so they were good characters. And to laugh themselves to death, I thought was kind of interesting, and how a cartoon character, if they laugh so much, they would end up dying. So I never
Yeah,
got I never got that part. That was one thing I never really understand, but I guess that's other than the dip,
yeah,
that's the only thing that really could kill a cartoon character.
yeah.
But yeah, but a fun
Mm.
movie, absolutely.
It was really fun. A little bit about this movie. the one of my favorite scenes actually in this whole movie was the Daffy Duck Donald Duck piano battle.
Yeah.
I mean, for that to work so flawlessly, with a real piano and
Yeah.
the cartoons playing the piano, was that whole scene. They said, I believe it was probably one of the most expensive scenes to make
Mhm.
because they had to build it like 3 feet up or whatever, from so you could get some of the animators underneath the stage to move some stuff around. But
Oh yeah.
that whole scene was just amazing to watch, the interaction. Then you had Jessica Rabbit, your first appearance of Jessica Rabbit on screen. Uh, just an amazing a feat of a movie.
Mhm.
Eddie Valiant, who's played by Bob Hoskins,
Mhm.
if I'm not mistaken, am I
Yep.
correct on that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
Bob
right.
Hoskins. Yeah, um, who Bob Hoskins is a classically trained actor, more of a theater guy, really, and him doing this movie, he's your straight man, the serious guy in a cartoon world. It's really it plays so well with the interacting between humans and cartoon that
Mhm.
this movie is pretty good. Uh, without giving my full rating, this movie, I will just leave it there and saying this movie is pretty good.
Yeah, I think it was what they were saying too is what I read was that one another kind of a fact of the movie is that Bob Hoskins had to take a year off of work because he was working for 8 months with basically nothing. So
Yeah.
he had to interact with nobody. So he has like a rabbit that he's trying, like one of those the green balls that you kind of have to look at,
Hmm.
like one of those focal points. So trying to interact with that for 8 months and only having a few a few humans to work with,
Hmm.
he said that it was almost like he was hallucinating at times, and he would actually have someone talking. He would see like the weasel in the hat, and so he had to take a year off just to recuperate to go back into acting. And I thought that was
Wow.
absolutely nuts for an actor. Sometimes they're pretty quick at it, but that was so hard on him that he had to do that. So that was
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah, I believe the filmation process, they did all the animation after the scenes were shot. So I believe, if I remember right, I think it took them 2 years after the film production was done on the movie
Yeah,
itself for that. So
that would make sense.
yeah.
Animation takes a long time. No CGI in this movie, like you said earlier, and
Hmm.
to CGI would have been so much easier
It
to
would.
do now. So I could see, there is a sequel that they announced coming up. Supposed to be February
Really.
11th in 2022. So Who Framed Roger Rabbit 2. So it is supposed to be a sequel. I haven't seen really any characters or actors or who's gonna characters, but the actors that are going to portray those roles.
Right.
So it ought to be interesting to see if it's going to be fully animated. Are they going to do actors and animation, kind of like the first one was? I'm not sure. I haven't seen much on it.
Odds are it'd be CGI because man, the man hours that they put in for the
Oh yeah.
animation, yeah, I don't think that there'll ever be another movie quite like this one ever again.
No,
I mean,
not with the amount of CGI that's out there, the equipment that you can do nowadays to make movies.
yeah,
They won't pay animators 2 years on a project anymore that it takes 6 months to
right,
do. Yeah,
right.
no way.
All right, so this was my movie that I picked. Actually, this was a fan pick movie that
Yeah.
we decided to go with. So I'm gonna give my opinions on this movie and rate it.
Mm.
Uh, this movie for me was a throwback. I enjoyed all the characters. It's not like they used one-off characters. They used main characters for the cartoons and stuff like that. Big cartoon names, interacting, guest appearances, or I should say. Uh, this was a fun family type movie. to where I thoroughly enjoyed it. I this was better than I remember it being. Uh, for me, if
Mhm.
for would I suggest this movie? Yes. To somebody who's never seen it, yes, I would definitely suggest this movie. Would I rewatch this movie? Yes, I would.
Mhm.
I would give this a solid 8, straight 8 on this movie.
Mhm.
Better than average, uh, above average, but not, of course, not, the holy grail of movies. So, but straight 8 for me. Mikey, how about you?
Mhm. Yeah, I'm on the same thing, and 8 is solid. The interaction between cartoons and human characters is always one of those I'd say parlor type tricks in movies to where
Hmm.
it's like, how do they do that? What are they how do they look? What are they looking at? To make it so flawlessly. So I think that the cinematography was good when it came to that. They did win the 3 Academy Awards, which makes a whole lot of sense.
Hmm.
So the cartooning was good.